Insights. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Erin, and she'll be here. She has a question. Her big question is she's a Pisces. She knows that, but she doesn't feel like a Pisces. So I'm going to go through her chart a little bit by little bit, go through her houses, and then I'm going to answer her question. So it should be fun. And I hope that if you have questions like this, that you answer as well. So here we go. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Joyce.
Do you want us to, welcome to my show. Do you have something that you'd like to share about a little bit about yourself? Probably. Do you?
Oh gosh, not really anything in particular. No, Joyce and I have known each other for probably over 20 years now, and I'm just excited to talk to her today about what she does. There you are. Oh no, we keep losing you.
I know. I don't know what to do about it. What I'd asked you, as I said, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself? That you were a mom of beautiful children, and that you have a side profession that you do. Your degree.
There you are.
I'm back. Okay. I'm going to end the stream and start it all over again. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No. Debbie says
I think that's
no.
your previous comment.
Okay. Okay. So, Erin, when I'm looking at, I'm going to pull up your chart and let you look at it for a bit.
Okay.
So there's your chart. Pretty interesting, huh? And Erin, as you can see, she has some blue lines, some red lines. She's got some good things going on in her chart. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about your chart now.
Okay.
Erin has Taurus rising at 12 degrees Taurus. And on her ascendant, on the 12th house side, she has her Chiron. I do know that the esoteric meaning of 12 Taurus is a porter carrying heavy baggage. So you came into this world carrying some heavy baggage, things that you need to accomplish in this lifetime. We'll go a little bit more about what that might be when we look at your North Node. So, Erin, she's an earthy, comes across as an earthy kind of person. She's got Venus that is the ruler of her chart, because Taurus's ruler is Venus, and she has Venus in her 12th house in Pisces, Aries. Looking at her first house, she is good at managing money. She likes things, nice clothes. She likes good quality. She a lot. Can you hear me?
I can now. I couldn't for like a minute before that.
Okay. I've been getting messages. I'm having trouble with the internet, friends. It keeps cutting out on me. I keep getting messages that my connection is lost. And it's very nice outside. There's no storm going on, so I have no idea why. Who knows? Your second, so did you get anything? Did you hear what I had to say about your first house?
No, not completely.
Okay. So Venus rules your first house. It's the ruler of your chart. And Venus is all about nice things and values. And you are a person of values, and people know that right away. They trust you because they can see that you're a real person. You're real. You're not some fake person. And they like to come to your house. Your house will be warm and inviting. You'd like to feed people as soon as they come in, or at least give them something to drink and make them feel at home. And so that's very nice. And because of Taurus being there, Taurus is values, but it's also, it has something to do with money. So this is a good sign that possibly you would be a good money manager. Okay, your second house is Gemini, and that's the house of your values. So you value things that are intellectual. You like good communications. You appreciate ethereal things. You're a little bit airy-minded, and so Taurus rules. Is the S. It runs the second house. So Taurus is your second house. The second house is got a Taurus overflow, and I thought that was interesting. That you like your values have to do with the things that you are, and having Gemini there more about communication. So you appreciate a communicator, and you like some talks up front the truth, and when they're not, it would be hard to lie to you, not have you know that that's what's happening. Your third house is and your third house is your brothers and your sisters, and your early educates, and you like.
Your sound cut out again.
It's anyway. So the moon rules and so that's why I'm saying love. You care about your brothers and sisters. You you had an emotional childhood, probably in some ways, but it was all good. And your fourth house is also Cancer. It starts in Cancer, and it's a little bit of Leo. So your house would be kind of a complex thing growing up. Probably you had a lot of blues and greens in your house, but as you've gotten older and maybe you started your own house, you've got more light, bright colors. You like a lighted window. You like light to come into your house. You like things that are uh, like the sun. You like the sun. You like maybe not so much orange, but you might have, you know, things like accent things with orange and yellow. And you have nothing in those houses. You have no planets that are in there, but you still have that in your chart. In your fifth house is loaded, and it starts with Leo. And in your fourth house, Leo kind of means that you kind of have a house that is kind of showy. It's a beautiful house, that your house is a beautiful thing. And in the fifth house, having Leo there is that you like you have things there that you are good at. You like to have a good time. You have your Mars there, and your Mars is conjunct your Jupiter in your fifth house. You also have your moon in the fifth house. And your north node is at 29 degrees of Leo. And I happen to know what that is. Talk about that later. Your Mars and Jupiter are in a minute, and your moon is also there. So that's kind of a little stellium there in your fifth house. Your fifth house is what you like to do, what you do for a good time. It's also your house of children, and looks like you could have, Jupiter there. You could have many children. These days we don't have as many as we used to have, and you're very energetic about that. You have also in your fifth house the sign of Virgo, and your Mars, your Jupiter, and your moon are all in Virgo. And if you can see, there's a line that connects them. So they're all conjunct. They all work together. So Jupiter, like, the ruler is, it's the man with the arrow. It's the part horse, part man, and he's got an arrow and he's shooting for the stars. And you've got Mars there. So that means you have a lot of energy going towards making things and reaching your dreams. And you also have the moon there. And the moon in Virgo just means that you're emotional about it. You can set your intentions, you can put energy towards it, and you can feel good about it because it is in the fifth house. The house, it's really good. And then in your sixth house, you have Saturn in Virgo, you have Pluto in Libra, and you have your part of fortune in Scorpio. So your sixth house is your house of everyday activities, what you do every day. Maybe, it's not necessarily a profession, but it might be what you do for your profession. Like you get up, get in the car, you do this, you do that, you go to work, you come home, it's your routine. And you kind of have as far as your routine goes, you're very good. You have Saturn in Virgo, and Virgo likes to nitpick a little bit, and they like to put things together. They like to, make sure everything is just right where it's supposed to be. And having Saturn there means that you take that seriously. You also have Pluto in your sixth house. And Pluto it's also the Phoenix ashes. And we'll maybe read that as an esoteric symbol. And sixth house, you have your part of fortune, and I'll also read for you in a bit. So anyway, your seventh house, you have Uranus, and Uranus is in Scorpio. And Uranus means, I look at that, that's your house of partnerships, your open enemies. That's what that house is all about. Could be partnerships as far as marriage. It could be people that you're in business with. and it's in Uranus. So Uranus is there. So I thought, okay, it's in Scorpio. Scorpio's ruler is Neptune. Where's Neptune? Okay. I looked up there. There it is up there. And I thought, well, okay, well, you like unusual partners. You like people that are brilliant. You probably know a few geniuses if you're not one yourself. And it's kind of deep. You're not showy about it like you would be if that was in Leo. You're kind of secretive about it. You kind of keep it under wraps. And if people don't get to know you a little bit, they might not know that about you. They might think you're shy, reserved. And maybe you are at the beginning, but when people get to know you, once they get to know you, you're not like that. You could be the life of the party. Having Leo in your fifth house, you could really give a good party and be a good person to invite to a party. You could liven things up and get people playing games or whatever it happens to be. Okay, in your eighth house of sex, death, and taxes, you have Neptune. Neptune is in Sagittarius. So I looked to see, is there any connection? There's no connection between Jupiter, who is the ruler of Sagittarius. But Neptune there has a little bit of, you're a little bit dreamy about things. And you having it in your eighth house, I think that's you could be a little bit psychic, especially since your Neptune is in Sagittarius. We'll talk about that. Your ninth house is in Capricorn, and your 10th house, midheaven, is also in Capricorn. And that ninth house, you're pretty serious about your education. You took it seriously. This is your house of foreigners, the ninth house, foreigners, education, and not just your high school. This is about college and maybe getting getting your master's or kind of certifications that would lead you to higher things. And you were serious about that and probably pretty accomplished, especially since I looked down and I thought, okay, that midheaven is trining your Saturn, which is down in your sixth house. So it's normal for you. It's just what you do. You wouldn't dream about cutting corners there in that house. You're going to be, it's easy for you to make everyday things lend you to that midheaven, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. So your midheaven's in Capricorn. Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, and it's at 23 degrees. Now, your 10th house is your profession. So I thought, okay, so that's pretty good. So whatever it is, people see you as a pillar. You're strong. They see you as being strong, and they trust you because you show that power of strength, and you've got the knowledge behind you. They can ask you questions and you know the answer. And if you don't, you're going to find out for them in no time. But you probably do know the answers. Also in your 10th house, you share it with Aquarius. Now, Aquarius, the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. And Uranus is known as a great disruptor. It's lately Uranus has been transiting your ascendant, and it's coming to your first house. So you might have been experiencing a new way to do things, a new way to present yourself to the world, something that is a little bit different than what you're used to. You might have tried different things, explored maybe some different clothing or whatever, your different hairstyles maybe or something. Going on in your 10th house, you're going to probably find that eventually you might change professions, or it might turn into something a little bit different. Now, Uranus ruling Aquarius, which is up there in your 10th house, It's also the computer age. It's not electricity. It is more, it's, it's the whole new world that we're into. And right now, Pluto has been transiting, come out of Pluto, and it's just at the very baby degrees Aquarius, and back into Capricorn in the fall. I think it's October, but then that'll be the time that it's going to pass over ideas about maybe what you could, and it might have something to do with computers, the internet. I know you can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
Okay.
kind of cutting out, but I can hear you now.
So anyway, I have to go ahead, Erin.
Okay, say that again. It cut out.
Okay, what did you hear about what I had to say about you're doing something new in your profession?
Yeah, you said like
You have
internet.
been a rock, and people have been. So you might be thinking about that might come into play, using the internet, using computers to do your profession. You've already been doing that, but maybe it has something to do with helping people understand their finances, possibly. It could be something like that. In your 11th house, that's your house of friends, hopes, and wishes. And in that house, you have your Sun and Mercury, and they're conjunct. Your Sun is at 11 degrees Pisces, and your Mercury is at 19. I looked at that and thought, oh gosh, you probably have some really good friends that you've had for a long, long time that are still in your life. You still care about them, and you're good at communicating with them. You're not losing those good friends that you've had for a long time. And also, I said that because of Pisces. Being in Pisces, it has to do with Neptune. And Neptune is squaring your Mercury. So you have to work on that. You have to work about it. You think about them, and you work on that. You make sure that you keep those connections alive. If they haven't called you, you're going to call them. If they haven't texted you for a while, you're going to text them or email them. And you're the one, you have to work at that a little bit. If they call you, make sure that you call them back, that kind of thing. But anyway, that's kind of good. You have some really smart friends, some really unusual friends, and you have people that are a little bit dreamy that are your friends, maybe a little bit different. In your 12th house, which is just as big as your 6th house, it spans from Pisces, has Aries encapsulated in it, and then Taurus as well at the end of that house. And in your 12th house, you have Venus in Aries. Now, I know about Venus and Aries. You're not one to just sit back and let things go. As far as your love life and what goes on and how you do things, you're going to be direct. It's all about you. You are going to let someone know if you're interested in them somehow. You're not going to let that go by. And you've got it trine moon. You've got it trine your moon, and Jupiter and Mars connection. You might come across as being shy and demure, but I don't think shy and demure. I think you're a little bit more direct. I think that with that kind of Venus, you've got some power behind that. And because it's trying your Mars, there's some energy there. You also have in your 12th house, you have Capricorn, and Capricorn is just past ascendant. So I don't know one, but you have Chiron is your wounded healer. Just as you were born, there, I don't know if you had maybe a different birth or something during your birth, or if it's just that that Chiron is hanging around your 12th house in your subconscious, in your things, maybe there and something that you need to deal with. And we all do. We all have a Chiron. We all have something that we have to look at and learn how to overcome it. And from that, once we do that, then we can help other people through our experience. So you've got that 12th degree of Taurus ascendant. So you came to this world carrying some baggage, things that you needed to get accomplished in this lifetime. And what I'd like to do now, I wanted to tell you why I think, what I think you feel like. And so I was looking down in this little box. I don't know if you can see it, but it says CFM across the top. And then down the side, it says FAEW. So it's cardinal, fixed, and mutable across the top. And it's fire, air, earth, and water on the bottom. So what you do is you say, okay, so I'm going to look across the top first, and I'm going to say, well, she has 2 cardinal planets in her midheaven. Okay. She has 1, 2, she has Chiron and Uranus, her ascendant and her part of fortune, but those are just parts. And her north node, they're all in fire. So that would be maybe, let's give it a 3. And mutable means that you're changeable. You can change things. You can go from one part to another. You're mutable. You bend rather than break, and that can be good. You can come up with ideas and change them if you have to. Whereas if you were a fixed sign, once you come up with an idea, it would be really hard to try to get you to change your mind or change what you're doing. So I looked at there and I went, okay, she's got Neptune, the moon. She's got Mars. She's got Jupiter, Saturn. She's got the sun. And, oh my goodness, this girl is whatever she is. So now I'm at the fire signs. Well, I'm going across an air. There's Pluto. In Earth, you got Chiron, 1. You got the moon, 2. 3. You got Jupiter, 4. You got Saturn, 5. Well, I looked at water. So what you feel like, Erin, is you feel like a Virgo. You feel like you feel like someone who likes to you like details. You like the details, and you're you're good at organizing things and keep running on time. And you're the kind of person that I'm not. I can do that if I need to, but that's not. I can let things get away. But as a Virgo, you're earthy, and your ruler is Mercury. So I looked for your Mercury and I thought, okay, that's right. She's got Mercury conjunct her sun up there in Pisces. So because you've got, your overall chart means that your signature is Virgo, an earthy sign. You happen to have its ruler conjunct your sun up in your 11th house. And so you feel you're friends with being that Virgo. So your sun, of course, is in Pisces, which is good. It gives you, the dreamer capabilities, but you've got really, you feel like a Virgo. So when you read that newspaper thing about your daily astrology or something, or it comes up, always read the Virgo.
Okay.
See how that feels. That's what I would do. And it doesn't mean that you're not a Pisces at heart. Okay. It does mean, well, looking down in your fourth house, who you really are inside is you're kind of an emotional person that doesn't know they would like the spotlight, but kind of likes to be in the spotlight. So you might start off kind of cool and aloof, and then before you know it, you're right in there being the star. Okay. Let me read for your North Node. And your North Node is 29 degrees of Leo. And I have that. I should be right there. Of course, 29 degrees of Leo. Here it is. But 29 degrees of Leo, I have to look at 30 because that's how this book goes. But this is from the book, The Astrological Mandala, 360 Degrees of Transformation. So your North Node is where you're headed towards. That's what you came, you came with heavy baggage. Some of that baggage, we might look to your North Node to see what it is that you're headed towards. And your North Node is at 29 degrees of Leo, which, because it's got some minutes behind it, I'm going to read 30 because that's how you do it. 30 degrees Leo is an uncertain. And the realization by the individual that all thoughts and all messages are inevitably to be shared with all men. And I think we've all had that happen, right? Have you ever had an idea and then find out that everybody else has got this, getting the same idea? It's happened across continents when it came time for, the telephone. People had ideas and were inventing the telephone, and they had the idea at the same time, but it was a matter of who was going to get it out there. Same for electricity, managing electricity and harnessing it. People had ideas how to do it, AC or DC. How are we going to do it? But the person that was going to finally get credit for it wasn't the person that thought it up in the first place. And so it was the person that had the money behind him and was able to charge and make a profit. Because of course, here in the United States, we wouldn't want to give our electricity away for free. And that's what was going to happen. So we ended up making that a big business. So anyway, so this has to do with I think the key word for this is nothing can remain sealed. If God speaks to man, man hears the word. Communication and sharing must always prevail over the will to glorify oneself by claiming sole possession of ideas and information. Okay. Nothing can remain permanently sealed. Okay, and it could be a public message. It could be it could become, you could be a participant. What was this? Nothing can be really hidden except superficially and for a brief time. What any man thinks and deeply realizes becomes the property of all men. So that tells you to control your thoughts, maybe. If you have negative thoughts, change those. Change those negative thoughts to positive ones, because if they're positive thoughts, you can convey that to the whole world. For your North Node to be there, that's where you're headed towards. You want to be headed towards those thoughts that are going to help people, that are going to help you and help humanity. It's kind of broad and kind of big, it sounds big,
Yeah.
but everyone could do that. But for you, that's what you came here for. Forget those little ideas and all that things, no, you're not going to ever be a gossiper, for example.
No.
Okay, I'm going to look at your Chiron neck.
Okay.
And it's at 10. That's that wound that you need to heal. Mm-hmm. It's at 10. Which, and you know what? It's 1000. So I'm going to read both, and you tell me which one it might be. How's that
Okay.
sound? So
Okay.
for 10 Taurus, what this woman saw when they brought up 10 Taurus was a cross nurse. This symbol reveals the feelings of human cooperation at the stage of pure altruism and service to the social whole. If you see the connection between what you came here for and what your hurt has been maybe from a previous life or from your early childhood. Okay. On that foundation of Christ love, agape, man can reach a still higher level of experience made possible by the refinement of the substance of his being, his consciousness, and his will. So, Erin, how does that feel to be someone that could just will something into being? You could do that by keeping your thoughts out there, even your secret
Okay.
thoughts out there. Yeah. This final stage, they've gone through a bunch of things here, but it is personal attachment in love to a husband or wife, which was in a previous symbol, has changed level, becoming a consecration to humanity. So somewhere along the line, someone maybe didn't take you seriously, or maybe gossiped or whatever. That was a hurt. They just said things that were mean about you or whatever. Could be, I don't know. Now, one for 11, because a second, it could be a second off on your birth time. A woman watering flowers in her garden. That's what the person saw for 11 Taurus. Development of the powers of the mind on which ego consciousness is based. The psychomental nature of human beings takes form out of the fulfillment and transcendence of biological functions and drives. Much as the bud appears as the sap rises and bursts forth into bloom, as the roots, so the flowers, is an old axiom. The consciousness attaches itself to this wondrous efflorescence. It lavishes its attention upon it. Its love, usually a possessive kind of love. This is my garden, for example. The ego develops. It may develop in a negative, resentful way if a belated frost destroys the bud. So the key here is cultivation. And I thought about that one. Well, the other one goes along with your North Node. And so maybe you're partly both, Erin. Maybe we can read for both of those for your Chiron and get something out of there. But whatever you did, you came in this life to fulfill whatever that heavy baggage was, to fulfill that. You Virgo, you. How do you feel? Do you think you're a Virgo?
Well, that seems like a better fit. Yeah.
Well, we're really good. Do you have anything else that you'd like me to? Do you have any questions about what I've said about your chart?
Not right now.
What did you say?
It's a lot to digest, so maybe I'll have questions later.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Erin. Thank you for coming on.
You.
And I'll be editing this, and because we had some problems, but it should be good. And I'm really happy to have you come on here today.
Yeah, it was fun. It's amazing how spot on this is.
Yeah, Erin, she comes across as an earthy thing when you come to her house, and as you see her, she's really a Pisces, and she's got that Neptune in the 8th house, which is pretty deep. Having Neptune in the eighth house is pretty deep, even though they say sex, death, and taxes. It's a pretty deep house. Yeah, and if having Neptune there, you could end, people, you could be a mortician maybe, or something like that. You could be a surgeon, someone that, deep dives, that could be something like that. And I looked at your Pluto as well. And because you have Pluto in Libra. So you do a lot of balancing out in your daily life. You're balancing things all the time, one thing and another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it can make upset. You can lose it when things don't balance out, or you're not, it's thing your life every life aren't balanced, and you feel it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
interesting.
thank you for being on my show. I hope this helps you. And if you have any more questions, I don't know if there was anybody in chat. Let's see, maybe someone in chat has a question. It's not coming up. Slow. Slow. I'm waiting for the chat window to come open. Hey. Well, hello, everyone. I'm sorry. Okay. Hi, Pomona. Yeah, we were having a little technical difficulties, but at least I got to go live today. So that was great. That was great. Thank you, Debbie, for being here, and Pomona. Yeah, I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you for being a part of Mystical Insights. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember the cosmos within you is ready to be unveiled. Bye-bye.